mean, how? Yes, the conversation is going to go into how fashion can be used to tell the African story. However, tell us your story. How did you get into fashion?
My story. Let me start by saying I'm a lover of art in general.
From beginning, from day one?
Yes, from day one. I like to draw the normal art stuff that you can think of. So from primary school, I've been doing all the sketches, all the comic book you can think about. From the Captain Planet to, you can name it. I draw all those things. So I think through school, one of my teachers realized that I'm very good when it comes to technical drawing. So he said, okay, why don't you go to a technical school, because you're very good when it comes to probably maybe he was looking at architecture for me.
Okay.
So I ended up in a technical school. I went to Koforidua ASEC. Then from there, I developed. So I was in a science class. But due to what I was doing, people realized that no, I'm actually in the wrong class. So from that, the second year, I switched from a science class to a visual art class.
Oh wow!
Yes. Then I realized.
So when you switched, did you go and start, or you continue? Like
I just continue, because in Ghana, it is perceived that when you're probably in a visual art class, you are not that smart. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So you end up, when you go to secondary school, most of the students who like entertainment, all those things, end up in a visual art class.
It's true.
It is there like that.
Yeah.
So me, from a science class going to a visual art class, it was a cool deal for me.
Okay.
And trust me, I was just doing well. But I realized, no, when I compare my grades to those in the science, I realized, no, my grades were low.
Okay.
Then I met one of the teachers who was teaching me textiles. KK Yabua, he's a man of God now. He told me, from the look of things, if I really want to take this thing further, I should probably go to a university. And if I want to go to a university, that means I have to probably get good grades. So I have to set up and take my EMS serious.
Okay.
So that came in. So the idea of, okay, I want to end up in a university and do art proper. Let me take my EMS serious. So right from secondary school, I ended up at Tech. I ended up at College of Arts.
Yeah.
So that is where it all began. College of Arts, Industrial Arts. Then I majored in textiles.
I've interviewed a number of College of Arts graduates in this very studio.
Okay.
What are you taught in there that makes it so easy for you people to work out and not just pursue your passions, but to set up viable businesses out of tech? I mean, I can mention about 5 or 6 people.
I know, there are lots.
Yeah.
There are lots. I mean, myself, recently, there are a new couple of designers. There was one guy I was like, this guy's really doing well. Then we had one-on-one chat. Then he told me he was part of some group of guys who came to me when I came to Tech to talk. I was like, whoa. I said, okay, no wonder. I would say, when you talk about College of Arts, the kind of pressure there, and so there's a foundation class that you learn everything regarding to art. So foundation, you probably learn sculpture, ceramics, metals, graphic design. You do all bits. Then you specialize in one as you go on. So from that stage, you could probably, and trust me, a lot of people in, let's say, industrial arts who end up even pursuing fine arts, like being into advertising, and they do all sort of.
Okay.
So it's like that. You might probably be at College of Arts, but you come out and realize that no, this is not even what you want to do. You don't even want to do things pertaining to textiles, or then you switch to graphics. I've done graphics a lot.
Okay.
I've designed invitation cards and a lot of things for the Office of the President.
Wow.
So even from a textile background, I did a whole campaign for Techno, advertising series for Techno.
Meanwhile, you are not known as somebody who does this.
No.
In our minds, you are just the guy who designs.
Yes.
But the skill is there to expand into other areas.
That is it. That is one thing I think College of Arts will shape you, will bring that best in you, because it is tedious. Every week you're supposed to submit something.
Yeah.
It being different facets of art. So you are forced to, unless you are just there, you just want to pass through. But if you really want to do what an art student is supposed to do, you will definitely sit up and do something.
Yeah, so that's where this. So when you on campus, along the way, you started realizing that okay, this is the direction I want to go. Were you doing designing while on campus?
So I would say for my story, I knew I wanted to do this even when I was in secondary school. I knew I wanted to do this, what I'm doing now, even in secondary school.
Wow.
One reason why I actually shifted from the science class, I would say, yes, I even had a clothing line while I was on tech campus. So that actually evolved to what we are seeing now.
Oh, wow.
So people at tech, they knew me, the co-like that they knew this, what this guy was doing. So it's not surprised when they see what you are doing now.
Oh, okay.
The brand actually evolved to what it is now.
Interesting. So you leave tech and then what? You set up a business or what? How does a person become like that?
I would say first there should be that passion should be there.
Mm-hmm.
If you are passion driven, definitely there'll be setbacks and all that. But if you are very passionate about what you are doing, yes, you will fall. In some point, you probably go down. Things will not go well. And mind you, even though I said I started a brand while I was on tech campus, the brand went down. I actually put the brand on hold and pursue other facets of art. I did a little bit of interior deco. At a point in time in my life, I was doing Christmas deco for Glow for like 3 years. So every December, I'm designing about, just mention almost all Glow offices in Accra. I was doing deco for them every December. So I've been interior deco for some time. So it's like, but I still came back to the fashion because I studied this. I did industrial arts. I majored in textiles. I know this.
This one you know.
Yes. The other ones, because you probably tasted it bit and bit, it's easy for you to probably pick on and explore, because everything has to do with art. Interior deco has to do with art. You have to know colors. You have to know all the elements. So it is very easy if you are passionate about it and you've done a little bit of it before, you can do it. So I would say, brand-wise, from tech, I started a brand. It went on hold. Then I think during my service, I did my service at GTP.
Okay.
So from a textile student, in my class, textile class, it is like if you really want to work, you should probably end up in a textile firm.
Okay.
That is the notion.
Okay.
So it is like if you end up in a textile firm, you are there. That is if you want to work for someone, unless you want to probably be on your own. So in my mind, okay, I want to do my service at GTP. But during vacations, I've done some internship with Akosombo Textiles. I have a little experience with printers for an attachment. So let me do my service at GTP and see really what it holds. Mm-hmm. So almost all the textile firms I've worked in Ghana. So I ended up doing my service at GTP. Then the love for textiles came in proper.
Okay.
So then I realized, okay, when you go to GTP, they are doing all sort of designs. You meet old men who are using paint and brush to create all the prints we see in town. I was like, whoa. And me coming from tech, now we are being taught how to use computer to do things, but people are still using brush and paint to create all the prints you see in town. There are a few people who are also doing computer works, but it is not that much. So I was okay, let me indulge into how to use computer to create designs more.
Wow.
So that is where the revolution for me came in. Okay, textiles. I know how to use a computer. What can I do with computer when it comes to textiles? So I started using computer to create most of the print you see in town. At the point in my life, I was just designing African print for. When you go to Accra, most of the Mokola women you see, those with the shops, they own most of the print you see in town. Aside the ones that the company creates them, they own them.
So the Mokola woman would actually do what? She would commission someone to design
a particular print.
Mm-hmm.
Then she will probably take it to China or bring it to GTP, Printex, ATL to be printed.
Oh, wow.
So the design could probably just be on a normal A4 sheet. But she has a capital. She's probably going to produce maybe a 40-footer container, brings it and sell it. So you are being paid for the design. Maybe if it's outside, I'll probably still be taking royalty from that particular design. But here, you design, you take your money, then you go.
Oh, so you went into that as well?
Yes, I did that and did a lot of corporate institutions. What people were as Friday were when it comes to the banks, and I did a lot. Then at a point in time, secondary school was moving from, it was changing to senior high school.
Okay.
I did a lot of transformation of the school's print, mostly the anniversary club the students were. I did a lot of changes regarding to that.
Then it means that right after national service, you had already started making money.
I would say I started making money from clothing while I was at Tech.
Okay.
Because I started a brand at Tech.
Yeah, you said you started.
Yes. So that I would say started from Tech.
Did you change the name?
Yes.
Okay.
So the name was, then whilst I was at Tech, the brand name I was using was Wronga Right.
Okay.
Wronga Right. The idea of Wronga Right is changing wrong things to right.
To right. Okay, Wronga Right. Nice name.
Wronga Right. Because when you're at College of Arts, trust me, the kind of things that your mind will be open to, realize a lot of things that we have seen that are probably wrong. So me as a young student who is poised to do things, okay, I see this. I don't even know why they're even using this font for this kind of. I don't even know why they're even using this ink for this. So, okay, I can change this narrative. Let me start doing something.
Meaning that as you even sit in our studios, you are seeing things that are wrong, but I am so ignorant and so unschooled in that I think is fine.
So that you can put it that way. You can put it that way. But until somebody appreciates a work of art, you wouldn't understand what they actually mean or what they are actually doing.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I see some artwork that is so expensive and I get angry.
You don't understand.
Why is this costing so much? The guy just threw a stroke of ink and splash, and people are charging so much for it.
I know. So art, you can't. Some people say you can't even put a price tag on an art piece. So we are just trying to put, because you have to live. So let's put an amount on it. But you can't just put.
I mean, I look at the Mona Lisas and the rest.
Good.
I know some guy who can paint that kind of thing correct. But anyway, that's another story. I don't want to go into that. So now, eventually, at what time did you settle that I'm going to run a fashion house?
So let me say this. So whilst I was at GTP,
after service, they maintained.
I was still there.
Okay.
So I was still there. Then, so whilst at GTP, I worked at 2 textile firms in Tema. I was working at GTP at the same time, GTMC. GTMC, Ghana Textile Manufacturing Company. Okay. Then GTP, the GTP, Textiles, Ghana,
exactly,
that's what is there. So I was working in these 2 companies at the same time.
How do you do that?
It was crazy. I was running shifts. So the second one, they needed me.
Okay.
So they were going by my terms.
By your terms, yeah. So as and when you were available.
So whilst I was at GTP, I didn't rise that high at GTP. So definitely you have people that you report to. Then I learned they needed a designer at GTMC. I went for the interview. Then they told me blunt, it is not an interview you are supposed to talk. We have this thing, we are finding problems. If you can do it, the job is yours. I met about 6 people, and I realized it was just a file format problem. So they send designs to China to be worked on, and they bring it back to Ghana before they can print.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So I broke that sending design to China chain. Then they said, okay, since you can do it, then we'll give you the job. So now they have to go by my terms.
Amazing.
So there I was, typical chief designer at a textile firm.
You call the shots.
You call the shots. I thought, okay, I'll come to work at these days. I'll probably come this week. I won't be there. I'll be on I'll come on weekends, like that. Then along the line, I realized, okay, GTP, I could say, I could see my future at GTP because I know there are people working there. I could see how they are doing and all as I know. That is not what I wanted to do. Then I started a brand. I branded a gentleman. So it was more like a movement. I started designing prints. Then the print that I designed, I did a shoot with some friends.
Okay.
Then anywhere, if there's an occasion, I make an appearance, people started looking at you twice.
So what, you became your own model?
Yes. And I was wearing, it was mainly print. It was mainly print. So people tag me with print as an African print. And the print you see me wearing, it is my own design print. So it's not common, it's not something that you even see.
And where were you printing them?
So that is it. Prints that are designed for the people that owns, the people who have the financial capacity to produce them. So I could design something, sell it to the Mokola woman, print it in China. I have that print.
Because you designed it.
Yes. And when you see it and you like, I'll tell you I designed it, wow.
And you say, where? Then you say, send a person to the Mokola place.
Yes. So that is how then the regime started. Then the kind of print I was designing started causing attention. And because I was coming from an art background, I know how to probably put story to it. Then I did the whole story with the collection, the print that I did. And that caught on. I was in Ghana, I had a call from South Africa. They wanted you to come and showcase what you've done in a show, all expenses paid. I was like, okay, this thing can probably take
this is it.
So that is how it started. Then you started getting calls from media houses. Because international houses are probably calling you. Now local media is also calling you.
What year was this?
I would say around 20. I'm not very good with dates. But I would say, so I finished tech around 2006. GTP, I spent about 2-3 years. So around 2010, 11 that way.
Okay.
2010, 11 that way, or 2010, 12 that way.
I can figure that time out because
yes,
when we were leaving was when you came.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I recall that idea is 4 years behind it. It's true. Yes. So now the brand is growing. Mm-hmm. First of all, quick one before we even go there. Who was sewing for you then?
So I had a team. So this is how I started. Whilst I was at tech, this story is quite funny. Anytime I'm on vacation, I go to Kantamanto.
To go and do what?
So then I was doing more of ready to wear.
So you go buy stuff from Kantamanto and come rework them?
Yes. So I'll probably buy normal t-shirts,
mm-hmm.
then re-edit it. Do my printing, where you have to do some patch work, you do it. Or where you have to do some stitches work, you do it. I met this gentleman. I realized he was quite crazy. When I say crazy, he does some very authentic art with fabrics. But he was selling in Kantamanto. So when I'm on vacation, I go to him. So we've been doing that till I was at GTP. So when I closed from GTP, around 6, I moved to Kantamanto. I can leave Kantamanto around 11, 12 before I go home. Then the following morning, I go to GTP. So that's how the work was like.
What are you saying?
And I did this for almost like more than 2 years.
Wow. That's how far passion pushes a person.
Yes.
You leave them and come to Kantamanto.
After 6 p.m.
Then you leave Kantamanto late in the night.
Around
midnight.
11, I'll get home at probably like 12. Then by 4:30, I have to be on my way to Tema.
Someone's story you never knew until you hear him say it. Oh, amazing.
So I would say that gentleman actually pushed me, and I was able to move him from Kantamanto. Then I said, Charlie, this thing we are doing, let's take it home. So from the ready to wear, the brand keep evolving. But along the line, he was out. Then I had people who believe in their dream.
Okay.
So you preach to them, okay, that is what I want us to do. So when I go to work, they are working at home.
Oh, wow.
So my first interview, trust me, I didn't even have a machine on my own. My first TV interview, I have to get a sewing machine from, we all know Adina, the musician.
Yes.
So Adina's mom stay opposite where I used to live, where mom is.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had an interview, and I have an interview at a fashion program want to come and interview me. I said, okay, you can come and pay my machine. So I did a setup with the things that I've done. After the interview, I said, no, I have to get a machine right away. Then I bought a machine, first one. Along the line, I realized, okay, I can't do this alone. Let me get someone.
So when you bought a machine, you were sewing yourself?
Yes.
Also, you were cutting scissors kind of work and all that?
You do all that in tech. Just that you don't have the time to sit down to do it because you are still working at GTP. So you have to get somebody to sit down, do the work. You come, you inspect, you get other people on board. Now you are getting people liking what you are doing, so they are demanding now.
So then you must bring in others. New hands, because
and you go to work, you come, there's a problem.
Somebody didn't cut it well.
Your vision is not being put. It is not being executed well, like how you wanted to say it. And especially because we're doing most of print. I design print. I know how to place motif arrangement and all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
So you are expecting the cut to go in a way, won't go that way. So you have to come back, tell them, no, let's scrap this. Let's get a new one. Make sure you are placing the motif like this. Let's do it this way. And I think that is one signature when it comes to my brand. How well I'm able to work with patterns and, let me say, print in general. That is where my stronghold is.
I'm looking at some of your artworks. I mean, there is a story way back 2020 where there are some of our actors.
Okay.
And they're wearing your stuff. I see John Dumelo, James Gardner,
Okay.
Fifi Koma, Calibos, Stoneboy, Bismarck J. Joke.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking at something that Calibos is wearing. It's a print I am aware of because I grew up with an old lady, so I understand print. You've designed it in such a way that when you place half of a certain design by a certain half on the person's chest, it gives a certain look of like a peacock.
Okay.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That you just don't sew,
No.
but you're particular about where the various
placement and how cuts. So what the collection, so that is a line, a subsidiary line I call the art shirt.
The art shirt.
Yes. The art shirt. It is something that is noted when it comes to the brand Abranteɛ the Gentleman. So these are art shirts. I do 6 design in each volume. And I could say currently we are almost around 50 something volume. So we've done 50 something times. These are all different designs. Because print is endless. And I've been doing this art shirts. I now have print brands that will send you their new prints so
for
that
you
just
to
make shirts. Being it from, how do you call it? GTP, Vlisco. There's even a print firm in Italy called Ratti. So I've worked with Vlisco, GTP, Ratti, Hollantex, most of these print brands that you can mention of. And these art shirts are really doing well. It is a commercial line for me.
Okay.
When I say commercial line, it's where
the money comes from.
Yes.
So what? There is commercial line and there is what?
The brand is there.
There are lines that wouldn't bring you money, but they will make you a name.
Not bring me money as such. So there is everyday selling. At least every day you are selling a shirt.
Yeah, this is retail. This is like
every day we are selling a shirt. But people who are probably, let's say somebody want to tie the knot, want to get married, you need a bespoke suit, you come. That one we talk.
Yeah,
that one we are talking, we are looking at your skin color, what will fit you. You come, you want to wear an ivory, I tell you no. Because of the way you look, an ivory won't look good on you. Let's do this color. You suggest the fabric.
That's consulting.
Yes. So those ones are there. And aside that, we do the normal kaftans and those ones are there. So that is what I mean by there's a special line. People just order it, just ready to wear, just pick it and go.
It's 9:30. The conversation is getting interesting. Now we're going to shift gears. Telling the African story. Already, for you, you started in the space where African designs were being used for print. What has been the story like in Abranteɛ, the Gentleman's brand? As you go out there, what are they saying about it? I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you this question. In my former life, my office was exactly opposite the HCL office.
Oh, okay.
You know, Kingsway, HCL, Kujo Thompson Road area there, So, and I recall one time having a conversation with one of the managers there. I think it was head of marketing. And he was telling me a story about he had traveled for a conference on textiles outside of Ghana. And when he got, everybody was in suits. And he was the only one who was in this African print shirt. And he became the star of the show. So everybody came in asking and all that. You have already said that. Some of the print that you design, you can create a story around it. What has been the world's response to Abrantier, the gentleman's designs, in terms of the Africanness of your work?
I'll tell you, if you travel out, even if it's not print, let's say I'm wearing this. That is, I made this myself.
Yeah,
it is
I
very
know
Western.
Exactly.
It is very Western. So if I produce this and have a little bit of print, let's say I have a print piping on the lapel, on this peak lapel,
Okay.
and you are out, it is different. People see you and they marvel. So you can just imagine you out there wearing a whole jacket made from
African
print.
prints.
I was on Savile Row
Okay.
in London, and I was wearing a print. It was a trench coat, and I could tell you I had about, Savile Row. You can talk of the top suit makers, tailors.
Yes.
From the Oswald, they are all there.
Yeah.
And you probably enter an Oswald Barton shop and they are white. I had about 5 or 6 different brand shops calling me into their shop just to talk to me because of what I was wearing. And you'll be mind blown that you see how an African, or how we cherish the foreign brands. You see somebody wearing maybe a Gucci shoe. Hey, Charlie, did the Gucci. Oh. It was the same thing they were doing when they saw a print jacket, trying to fill it. They want to see everything, and they ask you. They don't want to believe what you are wearing is the same fabric as what they are using to probably make the suits.
Oh wow!
And it's more mind blowing when it has a color that is not ordinary to them. They are fascinated by the colors and the kind of motifs in them. And now that Africa is now more like the highlight is now on Africa,
the
when
world
it comes
is looking at us.
When it comes to our art and all that. Trust me, on Savile Row, I had to remove my jacket for about 6 guys or old men just to come in, more like bisect what I was wearing and see how it was. And they asked you detailed questions. Trust me, they were asking. Thank God I was coming from the background of
you could explain.
Print.
If you are just wearing it like me, you wouldn't know what to say.
And they are fascinated by you wearing a particular print and how you probably coordinated with even the color of the shirt you are wearing. And that is one magic Oswald is doing.
Oswald Barton is big. I mean, when we were growing up, he was the biggest. We didn't know anybody else.
And he's still doing marvelously well when you probably go outside there. He stands out.
Because he adds a bit of the Africanness.
Everything about him. So it's like that. People want to see something new. This pinstripe, I think they've done pinstripe millions
times. Of years. Yeah.
Window pine, they've done it. The tartan fabric, they've done it. So what is new? What we are doing is new. So it catches eye. And when you are out there and you are trying to push African, one thing I do is when I'm telling African stories, I don't just make clothes. So my typical show I did in South Africa, I had a whole collection called Africanism, Colors of Africa.
Africanism.
Colors of Africa.
Okay.
And the moment you talk about Colors of Africa, some colors are pertain when it comes to Africa.
We are bright.
Very bright. Take the Ghanaian flag, for instance.
Red, yellow, green.
You could relocate these colors into a lot of African flags.
Senegal, Niger, Mali.
So it goes on like that. So there are some colors that are. And I did a collection with that. And trust me, I've showcased that collection in Amsterdam. I've showcased it in London. A couple of other places. And trust me, recently I was in the States. I got invited by, a school, just to come and talk on that collection. And you could see from their faces how fascinating these things are to them. And it's not, so let me give a typical example of how a collection is. If I'm putting up a collection and I want to speak about, I want to tell an African story. The collection is coming with, definitely, it wouldn't be the normal button you see. It has some African elements in there.
Okay.
I'm putting in the Adinkra symbols are there. You're not just using normal print. You are probably using woven kente. It can probably be a northern kente, the Ashanti kente. It comes in like that. There are collections that I do that I create weave from the scratch just to make the collection. So things like this, when you're talking about them, it is more fascinating. And if I made a collection like that, it wouldn't just be the collection. I'm making sure how I'm telling the story, performing it, I'm adding some African instruments in there. The whole shoot has to go with that. Anybody who sees it, because you look at what they are doing out there, they are shooting collections with. I'm casting my mind around. Let me take a Balenciaga shoot.
Okay.
There's a new campaign that Balenciaga is doing. They have a very weird kind of footwear, and they are inculcating it with skateboards and other things because they pertain to their culture.
Okay.
So definitely, if you are wearing a footwear, definitely you're probably going to stand. You can't stand on a skateboard without wearing nothing. So skateboard footwear goes hand in hand.
Okay.
So if I'm telling a story, a collection, I've designed something that will pertain. The design has an inspiration from the northern part of Ghana. I try and fuse in maybe a northern instrument. I can probably add maybe a xylophone or something to it for the whole shoot of that. And if I'm showcasing it and I have the chance to inculcate all those things, I make sure it comes to bear. In other words, I'm telling whoever is probably watching from a different lens from Ghana to that in Ghana, there's a musical instrument called this. It's not only about fashion. In Ghana, there is something pertaining to maybe, it can even be a food setting, and the look is in there. So we tell stories not just with fashion, but it's a whole collective thing.
Was this deliberate, or you found it along the way? You fell in it by accident, where you ensuring that there is so much Africanness in your work that it stands out? Was it deliberate, or
I'll say so. Then I'll go back to my fashion class.
Okay.
Whenever you are probably being taught, or you are doing something pertaining to you really want to stand out. So how do you stand out? I don't think I can probably stand out by showcasing what the outside world is doing better than us.
Of course.
So how do you stand out? Stand out with something that is unique. Something that is unique. And what will be unique? Something that the world hasn't seen.
Which is yours.
Yours. Ours.
Africa.
One reason why most of the time when we watch our movies and we see all this glam, I don't think you can probably do glam more than the Hollywood people.
No, you can't.
So how best can we tell our stories? Imagine we are probably telling stories of the Ananses and the Nkrumahs, and people can resonate and okay, that is really something I have not seen. The musician is making waves. The Angelique Kidjo, Salif Keita, what is making them stand out?
The Africanness in their music.
That is it.
Because you can't rap more than a guy who grew up in the States. Okay.
So how do we stand out? How can we be unique? By telling what is ours. I think that makes me more, or that puts me in a deliberate state to make a statement.
Interesting. It is Abranteɛ, the gentleman, the founder himself is seated here. And if you're listening to us or you're watching us, it is getting interesting by the minute. I have a question I'm gonna read because it's something that I find it quite interesting though. So you're telling the African story. It is going out there. What were your first impressions when you watched Wakanda?
Good. So one thing I realized, a lot of African elements played a major role in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And to be frank, definitely they will consult some brands or the people behind it.
Some creative consultants.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But as to it being what is really the level, or probably the level that Africa is in now, I'm a little bit, because I could probably pick on costume. Mm-hmm. I realized that when it comes to costume, there were embroidery outfits that I realized that the kind of costume that they were wearing when it comes to embroidery were embroidery that we were probably using maybe 10 years ago. Fantastic movie.
So we, the unschooled, saw it and clapped. But for you, it looked like, yeah, you could have done better, guys.
Yes, because now Africans are making embroidery with stones and a lot of rich. The Africa we know then is not what is now. there is rich Africa now. So you can't probably just put Africa out there. Yes, the movie was fantastic. Elements in there, they try to portray all the art, but trust me, I could bet that if the movie was based on, let's say they have some modern creative in there, to put in African element in there, it will be different. Fantastic movie. Costume was on point. Costume was on point. Definitely, because there are people behind it, they might probably reach out to what they can also get. Or, again, you can appreciate what an artistic piece somebody has done. The person might probably have a story to why they even use that particular form of maybe costume work in there. So one thing I would say is a great movie, but people can probably tell it in a different lens that also portray Africa in a different way.
I asked you because I had a feeling a creative person like you would have seen stuff that I didn't see. I mean,
yes.
That is why.
Yes. So I just give one typical example.
Yeah, I've seen.
The Chad was wearing a particular outfit. Mm-hmm. Trust me.
The one with the bones thing in front.
It was 10 years back.
We still wear bones like that. Just shells and stuff.
Good.
Cowries and all that.
Now, Africans are trying to inculcate things that are matching or giving the white man a challenge. Because now, trust me, world is global. If you want to get something, you can just put it and inculcate into whatever you are doing. So it's not something that I would say, it wasn't bad. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Everything was on point. But it could be better from a creative point of view. From where I watch, from my lens,
I know
it could be something else.
What goes into creating an African story? So for me, one of the reasons why I thought I needed to speak to you in this slot was the fact that you are the one person I see telling the African story in all that you do. What goes into deciding which part of, because we are so diverse and we're so eclectic at the same time. What goes into deciding that, okay, for this what do you call a group of clothes that I'm going to I'm not using the wrong term. This collection. Great. This collection, what goes into deciding what story this collection will tell?
Okay. So before you put up a collection, there should be definitely a theme or reason why you are even creating the collection. One.
Oh, it's to make money. Oh, that's not a good enough reason.
It's not all about money.
Okay.
It's not all about money. While I was speaking, I told you I have an art line, purely a commercial line. So the commercial line is there.
So that will make money. That's not...
yes. People can create collection just to bring an awareness.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the reason why you see some outfit on the run, you go like, but this one, go feel where I'm.
Who go where this go down? I mean, I've asked that question.
There are some designers, when they are on a show, the things that they will produce, when you even go to their shop, you won't find them there.
It was just for a statement.
Just for a statement. They just want the media, because fashion shows are basically for the audience. That's why when you are doing fashion shows, you invite media men and all that. They should come and carry the story and go. So if, let's say, 20 designers are showcasing, they can't talk about all the designers. So who will stand out? They'll probably pick things that are very fascinating to them and talk about it. So the more people they talk about you, people end up going to look for what exactly do you do. So you can probably, if I'm creating a collection, so let's say I'm supposed to showcase in Milan. I have an invitation to Milan, and I'm working on a collection. Or even I don't have an invitation to Milan. I'm working on a collection. In my mind, I'm looking at showcasing this collection outside Ghana, even outside Africa. What will work there?
Okay.
That will come in mind. So if I'm designing, I won't design a trench coat if I'm probably going to showcase in Ghana or just Africa. No.
Okay.
So if, let's say, I want to design a collection for touring Europe, then what will pertain to them? What do they have there? What can I do to probably fit my settings? So if I'm designing a trench coat, I won't do the normal fabric. Definitely, it's probably going to trench coat, good to catch the weather and all that. Let me use fabric that are probably heavy. I won't use their wool. I will use our kente. I won't use our printed kente. I'll use our woven kente because it's heavy.
Oh, nice, making sense.
I won't use their normal fabric to probably line in. These are 9 silk fabrics. Okay, yeah. I can probably make African print silk for lining. So all these elements come in play. before you even think about the collection. So now, if it is done, because it's woven kente and it's not normal fabric, it takes long time to probably produce woven kente. You know how much kente costs. So the whole trench coat is very expensive. So even if I'm probably producing something like that in Ghana, are Ghanaians ready to even buy things
We
like
know
this?
go
Where
mind
would you
you
even wear it to? So
we
you
know
even
go
buy.
mind you cry.
Good. So you look at all these things.
Okay.
So if I'm probably producing a collection, okay, I'm looking at hitting African market, just African. Okay, let me do things that Ghanaians will love. What do Ghanaians like? Most of the time, Ghanaians are rite of passage. A lot of outdoors, Christianing, a lot of marriages. Every time, Charlie, I go figure something white. They love wearing white. So let me probably make a collection regarding to that. So I have a collection called Ayeyi. Ayeyi mean praising God.
Exactly, yeah.
And when we are praising God, most when we are in happy mood, we wear white and all that.
So it's for outdoors, engagements, weddings,
Those things.
and the rest. Okay.
So in that, I'm targeting that kind of people.
Okay.
So what kind of fabrics will I inculcate into it? Let me look at the cottons. Let me put in linen there because mature people also like going to functions.
Exactly.
The mature people like wearing linens a lot. Because when you are getting to realize that you just want free things. So I put in linen there. Okay, the young guys, they probably like the khaki fabrics and all those. Let me put in there. Let's try and get some vol in there just to add taste. Just to cut across the Gen Z. Let's add some all this fancy fabric there. The spandex, and so you inculcate all this into exactly what you are doing. So you are producing an outfit, you know, a Gen Z will wear. You're not going to use linen. Use fabric that will probably pertain to them. They like big pants now. It's in vogue. The palazzo and all those things. So let's use fabric that will probably we can use to probably make those things. Nice simple shirts for matured men, linens. You create it in that vein, not plenty, little detailing. Then you get it done. Then you target those people. So you have a collection line that will probably fit. Then let's have some crazy ones just to probably create attention. So all those things come into play.
So a lot of thinking goes into your designs.
Yes.
Interesting. What frustrates you most about the fashion industry in Ghana and maybe in Africa?
I always say the frustration, it doesn't even probably, it boils down to our production.
We don't have facilities or what?
Facilities, probably my level now, any machine you probably want to use, you can afford them.
Mm-hmm.
The workforce, people to work with.
Oh, okay.
It is crazy.
Is it that the talent is not there or the attitude? Where is the challenge?
Attitude.
Okay.
Attitude towards work. So now, this is what a lot of people do. A lot of people are working with foreigners now in Ghana.
They've imported
Yes.
workers.
Yes.
When we say there are no jobs.
Yes. Because you probably hire a Ghanaian, it comes with a whole lot of stories.
He was late.
today.
There's traffic on the way.
A lot.
His mother's father's sister's uncle got sick, so he has to take him to
But
hospital.
the people coming in from maybe neighboring countries, they are in Ghana, they know they are probably coming to make money. Just like how Ghanaians travel outside, they know, hey, I go find money, come Ghana. So the attitude is, so that is also, attitude towards work is one key thing. And I will say this thing, we always say it, I think it boils down to every facet. How organized, like groups, like the way musicians have music and all those things. When it comes to the fashion fraternity, it's quite hard. It's very hard to assemble. And you know,
how many are you in this? How many are Brantier, the gentlemen, are around in this country? You're not even more than 10.
yes.
So
But
why do you need an association or a union?
no. There are a lot of designers. There are a lot. Maybe some are not out there.
Okay, they are not at top notch.
Yes,
You could
but
put
there are
them in.
lots.
Okay.
Now, if recently I picked my phone, I customize designer friends with abbreviation DZ, and I just type design. I realized how about 30 to 40 designer friends in Ghana.
Oh wow.
I was like, whoa.
What do you need an association for? You're making money.
So-
You're designing
so
for
good.
people.
So that things like when it comes to maybe exporting what we produce,
Okay.
or you probably imported things, maybe some fabrics, you want to clear and all these things.
Okay. Some tax rebates here and there. If you
all
are
these
united.
things, at least we can probably have a voice to talk about these things. But since there's no front like that, it is quite hard to talk about these things. And it's like each man for himself. We are all doing what we are doing in our own corner. And when we
so
meet-
there's no union of the,
I won't say there
I mean,
is.
you are not part of the Ghana Association of these something and dressmakers, tailors and dressmakers. You're not a part of that association.
So there are tailors and dressmakers and there are designers. Most of the time, the tailors and dressmakers are the people that we think they are.
Okay.
And designers are more, and the people who are more bougie, it's very hard
No,
to.
you won't bring them together. I mean.
Aha. So these are the things. I know the tailors and dressmakers, they've invited me. They are quite united.
Yeah, they are. I know. I've when I was a banker, it was one of
Okay.
the accounts we were interested in. Yeah.
So, but when it comes to our side, trust me, it's quite hard. It's quite hard, and at times where we meet, let's say if there's a program, and maybe recently we lost one of our dear designers, and a few of us were just trying to put ourselves together and go and see the family. It was quite hard.
Everybody make busy. Interesting. Who are some of the other designers doing well from where you sit?
From where I sit, I'll mention. I don't want to mention names. I'll probably forget, but the name that
See,
probably
when you went on ZFM, you didn't mention my name.
you know, right?
Yeah, I know.
But you one thing I always say, if people are doing well, you just have to give them the nod.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is one major brand, Christy Brown.
Okay.
Christy Brown, Aisha, Christy Brown is doing well. Pistis, marvelous. These two brands, I would say, trust me,
They're doing well.
whilst I was at GTP, they were doing well. I came into the scene, they are still doing well. So
And they are older
consistency-
generations.
Yes. Not that older, but they've been there.
Okay.
Christy Brown, there's Diaba Sewa, Nelly doing well. The men's side, the gentleman that I mentioned, there is Ato Andor, is a new chap doing really well. Yes, there is Chocolate.
Yeah, I've seen chocolates
Kweku,
work.
Kweku's also doing well.
I've seen chocolates work.
Kweku is now doing more international things, trust me. Kweku is doing well. The few ones that probably come in mind. There's another young chap, Boedo,
Okay.
also doing. I'm talking about people who are really doing pure artistry. There are a lot of people who are just doing production. They realize that there's money in this game. Let's enter
Let's
into
sue
them
for
probably.
people to,
So they are there. They
But
are
you're talking of those who are taking this to another
people
level.
who are really doing. Yes, I commended the few names that I probably
Okay.
mentioned.
And they're taking African story out there.
Yes.
What would you want anyone listening to this interview? Remember the Abrantier, the gentleman brand for. When they go out there, are they able to mention the name?
So there's a twist to this.
Okay.
So when I started traveling, I think one of my first shows, they definitely will say Abranti.
Yeah,
So they were going like
Abranti,
Abranti. And anybody who mentioned it will ask, what does it mean? So I have to end up explaining myself. Abranti means a gentleman. So I always go around telling people Abranti means a gentleman. I say, okay, why don't I just add the gentleman to the name? So that the name will be Abranti the gentleman.
Ah, okay, that's where it came from.
So due to international exposure outside there, I don't know. Let me just add it to it. And in Ghana, when you mention Abranti, a lot of Abranti things.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Abranti.
Abrantier sport.
There are lots. There are a lot. So to stand out, well, okay, let's have the brand name out there. Well, so that's how come we have Abranti the gentleman.
Interesting. What is next for Abrantier the gentleman or for Ohiniba?
Okay, so for myself now, I would say yes, production is going on. I'm now veering more into fashion lecturing more.
Oh, okay. You're going back to the classroom.
I'm doing more fashion lectures and trying to, because I realized that the clothing bits now is more of production when it comes to
It's been automated.
Yes.
It's running on its own.
Yes, I know probably bankers who are sitting in the bank here or have people working for them that are just producing. So let's take the raw art that some of us, we are from the art field. So let's take it back to where. So I engage a lot of schools regarding to probably talking about art, and there is a very big gap between the fashion class and the fashion world.
Okay.
Because I get a lot of DMs, people who really want to set up. And when you go to most of the fashion schools now, they are churning out students just to be designers. And there are a lot of fashion facets there. People can probably illustrate, people can be stylists. There are people who can probably just work when it comes to the machine. They can just be employed by other brands that are already out there. But a lot of them want to come out as designers. And they're coming out as designers, they're probably coming to make the same maybe mistake that we did. So what is it that we can also
So you are advocating for specialization
yes.
at an early age so that
Yes.
people okay.
So that is one thing. And aside that, to let them know exactly what it entails, because fashion business is serious business. It's not like people only see the glam side. So they think, oh, when I'm into fashion, that means you're probably going to dress in. But trust me, I can tell you the last time I wore this suit was while I was in the States. So I came back.
Okay.
And it's been work. But only people only see the outside and they think that is it. So advocating for that, trying to let them know what really. And there are a lot of fashion schools now out, and they are just in to make money.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
So why don't we, at least whilst we are making money, let's try and get the real thing out there. So I'm advocating for that more, aside the normal production that we do.
so Oheniba Yabuama has no plans of setting up a fashion school.
Fashion school, I would say not now.
Not now. Okay.
Not now. Maybe in future. And in future, maybe I'll probably come in. But now, it is more of production, and I go to schools to give my quota.
He goes to school to give his quota. His name is Oheniba Yabuama. He's a founder and lead creative. The brand is Abrantier, the Gentleman. It's been a great conversation with him. I expected it to be that good, and it's been better than I thought. The comments are coming, and we'll read some of them eventually later on. But thank you so much for passing through ZFM this morning. Any final words to our listeners before we take leave of you?
Okay. So I always say this wherever I go. In as much as we are trying to build the nation, regards to fashion, let's also try and, because I always say, in as much as we are blaming MPP, NDC, we can also blame ourselves. Look into your closet. If you have more foreign products than made in Ghana products, you're also not helping the country.
If you have more foreign products than made in
when
Ghana
it comes
products,
to clothing, than made in Ghana products,
you're also part of the problem.
you're also part of the NDC MEP problem that we are always talking about.
Thank you very much. He's ended the conversation. Let me repeat it. If you look in your closet and you have more foreign product in terms of fashion than local, you're also part of the problem. It's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Coming up is NYA, the brand, and the show is The Brighter Side. Mid-morning's finest is